I'm back, and guess what? Happy camper right now. They finally sent me the right injector pigtails. Time to get this install started. Alright, now that we got those injector clips, let's go ahead and get this thing installed. Get all 6 injectors, get the spark plugs gapped and put in correctly, and then we'll be ready to try to fire it up on the new base map. I can finally put the final boost pipe in and the blow-off valve, and we'll pretty much be ready to go. Okay, so I got the injectors in now. They're all bolted down and tight and sealed, and they've got their factory retainers in there and everything's good to go. But I thought I would stop and show you these injector clips that I was so excited about. The way that the Injector Dynamics people sent us the injectors, they had like a cut-off wire, like they're little pins that you clamp, like you re-terminate the new end and then plug it into your injector. That's definitely one way to do it. The way that I like to do it, because this guy, if he ever wants to return to stock or if somebody else buys the car and he takes the turbo kit off, I like to leave the options kind of open for the future. So these clips that I got, they're just these little guys right here. So on one end, the factory plug goes in. On the other end, it goes into the injector. It only spaces it out, less than an inch. And they work pretty good. So plug this little guy in here, clips in nice and tight, good factory connection, and then clip it onto the injector like that. Put the ejector in a good spot. Voila, that's it. Now, the other thing I was gonna say, while you're in here, it would be absolutely crazy not to throw a set of new spark plugs, because these aren't like super easy to change out on the 350s and 370Zs. While you have all this upper stuff off, I'm gonna go ahead and gap a set of iridium plugs. They say not to gap them, but if you're boosted, you gotta gap them down. So I'm gonna gap a set of iridium plugs down, pop those in. All right, I don't know if any of you install spark plugs super often, but if you do, you probably know that sometimes they can get stuck down into the hole, and you don't want to seize a spark plug because that is a total pain to fix later. So I always use a little bit of anti-seize. This is like some Permatorx brand, but just anti-seize. They make it like in copper or like a graphite or whatever this is, so you don't need very much of this. Just get a little bit on the threads, and it'll make sure that you do not get a spark plug stuck, hopefully. So. We gotta put this on the last pipe. Hopefully it'll sound good. And then stick this in the car and then fire it up. I know I said we're gonna fire the car up 7 times, but this time, as long as we get this hooked up, that is really it. So let's hurry up and get that done now. Yay, blue stuff. Ooh. Does look a little bit better than the fake knockoff version. It's pretty nice. I guess we'll just leave this loose so that we can put it however we want when we get it in the car and tighten it down. Alright, so we got everything in, and I was going to show you guys this yesterday, but I forgot. And this is going to come in handy today when we get on the dyno. But when I was putting the spark plugs in yesterday, I did not know that Nissan provided this little loop right here, which comes directly off the ignition harness, and I believe this is a timing loop. So when I get on the dyno, I can like clip right on here and it'll give me like a tach or RPM signal, or if you're shooting your timing just to verify, you know, like for when we're setting up the standalone, we can also use this for that, I believe. So kind of handy, cool little trick if you guys need it. It's just nice to know that it's there. It's just kind of tucked, you know, under the plenum on this one side. Okay, so I've got that AEM gauge installed that I was showing you guys the other day, but I was just going to show you how easy it is to deal with. Like, I've got the software opened up. You just plug the USB in, it will find it automatically, and then you can set up a bunch of stuff. This is the center of the display. Like, you can choose, like, I have it set up for air fuel ratio, and the outside you can change the faceplate so that it displays, you know, vacuum or boost or whatever, and then you can actually data log your pressure and your air fuel ratio while driving or whatever. Anyway, super easy to use, and you can change like how the LEDs come on, what colors and when, how fast it blinks, and all your fail safes. So that's pretty cool. All right, guys. So today we are finally starting to try to fire up the 350Z on the new injectors and get everything set up in the calibration. And so far it's been super easy. The base map that they give you for the car, it will start the car with the stock injectors, even with the bigger pump, because the pump doesn't actually change anything really. So I already started the car, I knew that worked. Now I put the bigger injectors in, and the only thing I had to do in the very initial startup was when you first plug it in, it makes you take a reading of the throttle position sensor at like close and at open to set it up for the drive-by-wire. You know, you don't want the throttle like sticking open or closed or anything like that. So all you have to do is calibrate that and then the car starts. That's really, really simple and straightforward. Now it gets into some of the other stuff. Injector Dynamics doesn't send you with flowcharts, but if you go on their website, you can print off the data sheet, and that gives you like, you know, your fuel pressure and PSI, the voltage. They call it like battery offset voltage for your injectors. Essentially, if your battery voltage is higher or lower, this will keep the fuel correction for the new injectors calibrated right. So you get the same amount of fuel, you know, approximately, even when the voltage varies. So you just have to go in and change the battery offset voltage here for your new injectors. In this software, it's under the tab under fuel, injector dead time. You put your new injector data there. Pretty straightforward. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I believe I have to be, I'm not 100% sure, but I think I have to be into the car and I can adjust it, you know, write these numbers across there. And that's just the first step into getting the calibration where it needs to be. After that, obviously we'll have to look at where the air fuel sits at idle and start adjusting that, and then there's a bunch of other stuff. But I'll try to explain as much of it as I can along the way, so in case any of you get a Haltech for your Z, or you get a Haltech for any car, all these things still apply. When I do Hondas, or I mean really anything that I've done, Chevy, it super doesn't matter what it is. Most standalones, the setup is about the same. You pretty much, you know, get a base timing table, a base fuel table, and you set up your fuel calibration, make sure your TPS and all your sensors are readed and calibrated right. And then you try to start the car and adjust as needed, and then you go in the dyno and work on the horsepower stuff. So, okay, enough talking. Let's get into the car. Started up, it's in a running range, so now we just need to go through and like refix the fuel table so that it stays where it's supposed to be, and then it should be more drivable and we can put it on the dyno. Well, I didn't expect this, but my customer with the 350Z, apparently Christmas was good to him, and he just brought this by the other day. It's the Tomai, was it titanium?
TI Extreme.
Yeah, the titanium exhaust. This thing is like so light, I feel like it's gonna float away. Whew. Right when I saw these welds, I was like, oh man, I can't believe he spent that kind of money. This is like super nice. Also, it just has the one muffler for single exit. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this muffler off. This is kind of the last piece of the puzzle too, because obviously the turbo kit, you know, goes to the mid pipe. So this will complete the rest of it and look super nice. Well, we got it in. Check it out. It was real fancy. You got these rubber isolators here. Everything holds on all nice. I've never actually put an exhaust on that had these cool springs and clamps to keep everything in place and tight at all times. Wow, that's ridiculously nice.
Jesus Christ.
Fits like super good in the bumper. Man.
Still pimpin' over here, my G, yeah. Hurt your lipper from the rear, my G, yeah. Kick the flow like a pier, my G. Cut cloth clear, yeah, like a shear, my G.
Sounds like a little baby, like half pulled to like 5,500, and it already made 344 horsepower and 330 torque. I'd say that's a really good start. So I'm gonna keep cleaning this tune up and get it to rev all the way out to 7,000 safely, and we'll see what we make. Alright, so I'm sitting in here and I just finished tuning this Z, except for a few things I'm going to do in the morning. One of them is when cars are colder, they need a different amount of fuel to start and to like run smooth as they warm up. So I'm gonna let it get all the way cold, and then just fine tune those parameters. So that way my customer, no matter what temperature is, when he goes out to his car in the morning and starts it, he doesn't have like a really hard time. You know, you just want to make these cars fast, but if they're so annoying to start and drive that you don't want to drive them, you know, that's obviously a problem. So I just got done doing all the fun stuff, which was the horsepower making. Final best number was 354. It makes about 7.5 pounds of boost. So 339 torque, so about 340 torque. Those are great numbers. I was really just hoping for, 7 pounds of boost. I was hoping for 100, but this thing made about 220 before we turboed it. So that's like 125 horsepower. So 125 horsepower is great for 7 pounds. I got to go drive around earlier in the passenger seat with my friend Yari, driving to make sure that it was smooth and drivable, and clean up some of the part throttle and drivable situations that you occur with a completely new tune. And both me and Yari kind of like wish we had a Z, because these things are actually super fun to drive. And I've never really owned a rear wheel drive car, so it's kind of interesting when you punch the gas and it goes sideways. I know that's like a regular, normal phenomenon for all you rear wheel drive guys, but I've primarily been a front wheel drive guy my entire life, other than being a passenger in rear wheel drive cars like fast Mustangs and other stuff that I've tuned or whatever. But anyway, this is a really cool car, super enjoyable, and I overall like it better than I ever could have thought. And I think one of the biggest things that made me like this more than anything else was, he picked out his turbo kit. I had no control over that. He picked out the AEM gauge based on my recommendation. I love that gauge. It worked really well for tuning. The ECU I had him pick out based on my recommendation. The pump I picked out, and the injectors I picked out. So all the stuff that was needed to make it run correctly, I picked, and it works amazing. I'm very, very happy with the Haltech. Anyway, I'm rambling at this point, but I don't know. Thanks for watching all the Z videos. I'm surprised at how much I like these cars, but I like the width of them, and it feels awesome when they slide sideways. It's really exciting. And I think if you were gonna buy a simple car, these aren't very expensive anymore, the early years ones, and this is a lot nicer to sit in than a 240SX. 240SX is probably one of the best cars ever, but a lot of them are kind of broke down and ragged at this point. I think this car, with a minimal amount of money, if you're trying to just have something fun to drive that look cool and you could go slide it around if you're into that, I think this is a great option. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. That's pretty much it for the week. Sorry for the ramble, but I was gonna try to show you more in the ECU tuning, but I really just had to put my head down and just knock it out so that my customer could be happy. But I hope you guys saw enough to kind of get an idea of maybe what's involved with tuning and setting up an ECU and getting a car from non-turbo all the way to turbo. And man, I hope you guys do a turbo kit on something at some point, because it is insanely satisfying. Feeling the boost in this car for the first time today was amazing. So with that being said, I will catch you guys in the next video. Got lots of stuff coming. Hopefully I can get to my new RSX at some time soon, but yeah, see you guys soon.